Thank you so much. On behalf of the Costa Rican Tourism Board and as chair country of the Committee on Tourism and Sustainability, I extend my sincere greetings to all of you. It's a pleasure to share our experiences regarding the evolution of the Social Progress Index in our destination. Some quick facts about Costa Rica. Is located in the heart of Central America with 5.2 million population in only 51,100 square kilometers. The opportunities for adventure, wellness, and explorations are unlimited, making it one of the most visited destinations in the region. Costa Rica has welcomed almost 2.5 million tourists arriving by air during the past year, 2023. Tourism has established itself as one of the strongest economic sectors. It represents 8.2% of the gross domestic product of the GDP. Although the country is small, it has the privilege of being home to 6.5% of the world's biodiversity. And the country has chosen a model to develop tourism tailor-made based on three pillars: sustainability, inclusiveness, and innovation. That aligns with the National Tourism Plan that was set up for 2022 up to 2027. And it seeks an equitable distribution of the sector's benefits to contribute to improving the quality of life to which Costa Rica aspires as a nation. So why the Social Progress Index? The Social Progress Index is the first comprehensive model for measuring human development that does not include gross domestic product or any other economic variable, but it complements them. So it allows us to evaluate how effectively the economic success translates into social progress and well-being for the communities. Economic performance and social progress, we believe that they can reinforce mutually to create a better life. Now, regarding the origins, it began in 2027. This process was promoted by the private sector with the aim of demonstrating that tourism was capable of generating development and improving the quality of life of communities, and not only did benefit the large traditional or big companies. And actually, in places where it was not a source of well-being, it was possible to demonstrate, was possible to determine how to influence it positively. The key stakeholders is the private sector, of course, the Costa Rica Tourism Board leading this process, along with CLACS. It's a Center for Competitiveness and Sustainable Development from INCAE Business School in Costa Rica. They are actually in charge of the process of developing the service and everything on field. And of course, another important key stakeholders is the people at tourist destinations, our local communities. It started in 2017. The tourism centers, destinations were 32 at that moment, and they were divided by year until 2019 when the first results were released. This was a very innovative project at the time that provided knowledge and field methodology to improve the design of indicators adjusted to the comprehensive and multi-dimensional nature of tourism, and it was adapted to the specificity of each territory. This is the framework from the Social Progress Organization, the social imperative. It is divided into 3 dimensions: basic human needs, foundations of well-being, and opportunities. It has 12 components and 60 indicators. It is based or guided by 4 principles that only the indicators are considered to be social and environmental only. Indicators out of outcomes rather than efforts, indicators that are relevant to the context, and indicators that can actually be target of public policies or social interventions. Here you can see some of the questions into each dimension. For example, the questionnaire or the study asks if people feel safe in their community. What is their perception towards health and wellness? Do they live long and healthy lives, do people have basic educational level, if they have the opportunity to access higher education, if people feel free from restrictions to exercise their personal decisions, and some others. Regarding the process, during this period, 2027 to 2019, a household survey was designed to obtain the necessary information applied in accordance with all the SBI methodology. Questionnaire had 127 questions, including a tourist information module. The data collection was carried out by the INCAE Business School, and a total of 6,732 interviews were carried out, obtaining the results on a scale from 0 to 100 points. The sample was over 200 or more interviews per tourism center or tourism destination. At that moment, we had identified 32 tourism development centers, as we call them, that are spread across the country, all the red dots that you can see on the map. It was a simple random sampling strategy implemented with the confidence level of 95 and a margin of error of 6.5%. Here we can see some of the results, or actually the results back released in 2019. The average score SPI for the tourism centers is at 71.84. When comparing, this is one of the most important advantages, when comparing the cantonal social progress index measured at a Costa Rica divided, into 7 provinces, 81 cantons at that moment, and 478 districts. So when comparing the cantonal social progress with the one results from the tourist centers, we found out that 9 tourist centers, for example, had higher level of social progress than their cantons. Compared to the average of the 81 cantons, the tourist centers also had advantages in criteria like nutrition and basic medical care, water and sanitation, access to information, and also environmental quality. Also, these surveys include the perception of tourism, and 83.5% of those surveyed believe that tourism is beneficial, and also it is a source for employment. Going into the key findings of this study, it allows us to understand the social culture in tourism destinations and the local perception and satisfaction over that, the acceptance, because they believe that it was beneficial. And also tourism development centers show higher level of social development than the geographical areas to which they belong. 10 out of 15 tourism centers are among the 20 cantons with lowest social progress, meaning that people depending on tourism have a better quality of life than other economic activities developed at that different regions. And the indicators also, the indicators in which the tourism centers perform better are 100% social. Among other key findings, for example, these results are opened and available online on our website for everyone to consult. We have over 15,000 downloads. We hope that these information, because it is actually very valuable for other public institutions to make basis for the plans, strategies, and why not interventions, of course, in the destinations. And it was also a tool for policymaking at the Costa Rica Tourism Plan Board, because the Costa Rica Tourism Plan was developed based also on these results. Another important application of these results is the opportunity to build in plans along with the communities in a participatory approach. We have been doing this through a program, the Integral Management of Tourism Destinations program. was designed to strengthen the management process of local destinations. So it allows us to empower them, to give them companionship and key information for them to make decisions for local development organizations. So they're key players in this process, the local governments, the tourism associations, the local chambers and entrepreneurs. And this way they can take leadership and necessary processes to strengthen the tourism activities in a short to medium term. They develop an action plan and a route, and we provide a task force for monitoring and following up the advance of these plans. So the plans also are available online for different locations so far. And so on other projects like programs like Crafts with Identity, empowering artisans and groups of women along the country to improve their handcrafts. And as of today, in alliance with MasterCard, we have launched a platform, an e-commerce platform at national level that is called Tico Treasure, so they can now sell their products online for the whole world. And an online training platform also developed by the Costa Rica Tourism Board, ISA Te Capacita, that allows people working in tourism and tourism staff to access free virtual online education, like courses and trainings based on the needs that we have seen from the results of this study. Now, if we, as we have seen with other studies among international visitors that consider that Costa Rica is a valuable society that honors nature and also enhances the well-being of its citizens, it's important for us to reinforce this positioning, and that for that we need to measure how tourism is improving the quality of life of its people. So we have continued the measurement of the SPI that started this year now after a pandemic. So we hope to have great results. It started in January 2024, and we hope to have results by midterm of this year, by July 2024. Now there are some differences. We still have the questionnaire, but we added 5 new questions regarding the effectiveness of waste management in the community. How do people perceive it? If they consider that there are significant efforts made for conservation and protection of green areas, how do they perceive the evaluation and use of renewable energies, the existence of policies or initiatives that encourage sustainable use of water, and if they find that the community is encouraging local businesses and sustainable businesses practices development. Also, there is one more tourism center added in this study, because we have found a new one in La Cruz, Guanacaste. It's important that tourism destinations are defined with centers with high-level attractions, with infrastructure, with all the services to develop tourism, and where tourist flows and stay at least one night. So our expectations and challenges, we expect the process to move from being just a measurement tool to a management tool for local communities, to consolidate a more comprehensive approach with new questions added, continuity, of course, of programs and additionals at a national level. And we want to bring this topic and the results to a national discussion to receive support from the government and other institutions, broadening this vision of issues that should be on the agenda and for the public and the private agenda, and not only worrying or addressing other variables like the economic ones or tourist arrivals or occupation rates, but going further and beyond to see the social impact of tourism in communities. Also, one of the challenges, since we're in the middle of this process of the survey, so far on field, there is an advance of 60%, but one of the main challenges is to win the trust and confidence of the interviewers so far. tourism is a social phenomenon, and it is how it was born. This is how we want it to be, to continue it. So we should focus on people and on their well-being. So thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for having me. And here have my information for any further data or questions.